You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. That won't do either. You can either bring us along or stay here with us. In any case, I won't let you take the risk alone. Chloe was determined. She didn't want anything to happen to Justin. Recalling the incident in Yunnan, she still felt a lingering fear. What Chloe didn't know was that when Justin returned to this dream, he was already putting himself in danger. And he would have to pay a heavy price. Okay, Dr. Green, you win. You're the world's biggest... Justin looked helpless, but his tone was full of love. Justin didn't want to have a direct confrontation with Chloe, so he decided to take her to this mysterious underwater palace to look for the professor. Dr. Green, you have such a big tummy. It's not good for you to bump around. How about, let my boss carry you? Anne interjected. I don't have a problem with that. Ask your boss if he can carry me. I should weigh around 140 pounds. Chloe gloated. Forget it. You should walk by yourself. I'm afraid that my waist will be crippled. Justin rejected her on the surface, but in reality, he was thinking of something else. Even if you weigh 240 pounds, as long as you let me carry you, as long as you ask for it, I'm willing to give my all. However, Justin would never say something so emotional. For the past few years, in order not to put Chloe in a difficult position, Justin never said anything too excessive, such as emotional or mushy words. All of this was because of his deep love for Chloe. At the same time, at Justin's house, Master Thorin sat cross-legged on a white round cushion. Justin and Anne were asleep on the bed. Master Thorin had actually already completed his duties and could completely leave. However, he was worried, even though he knew that Justin would never come back. He still wanted to guard him here. He wanted to see if Anne would wake up and if Justin was able to save everyone. Secondly, he was afraid that someone would accidentally barge in and move Justin's body without him knowing. If that happened, all their efforts would go to waste. Mrs. Cooper arrived at 9 at night. She kept a low profile and only brought a bodyguard and a chauffeur. It was deep into the winter, and Mrs. Cooper was wearing a long black down jacket. She was carrying a certain designer purple handbag, looking elegant and calm. When Justin brought the twins to her in a hurry, she felt uneasy. She asked her son, but he refused to say anything. The twins were tired from playing and fell asleep around 8. Therefore, Mrs. Cooper put on her clothes and went out. She first called Justin, but he didn't pick up. After asking about his whereabouts, his subordinates told him that Justin had been staying at the mansion. This abnormal behavior made her, as a mother, very uneasy. Mrs. Cooper had the keys to the mansion, so she opened the door and walked in. The mansion was pitch black, unlike Justin's home. Mrs. Cooper entered the living room and turned on the lights. She was shocked to see a figure standing at the stairs. Who are you? Hello, Mrs. Cooper. I'm Justin's master. Master Thorin was very calm. How come I didn't know my son had a master? Where did this swindler come from? Mrs. Cooper's words were sharp. However, when she saw the jade pendant on Master Thorin's body that was similar to that of Grandmaster Compassion, she was extremely shocked. Then, Master Thorin briefly told Mrs. Cooper that they had been caught in an incubus, but he missed out on the price Justin had to pay for entering the dream the second time. Meanwhile, in the underwater palace, Justin, Chloe, and the others were going out to look for the professor, but when they opened the door, they saw an unexpected person. When Chloe saw the familiar figure standing at the door, she immediately burst into tears. President Dawson, Justin and Chloe didn't say anything, but Anne spoke first. Perhaps none of them expected to see Jack at such a critical moment. We were just about to look for you, and here you are. What great rapport. Justin smiled as he looked at this king-like man, his heart aching. It was like every time he was alone with Chloe, Jack would appear. Then Chloe would only have eyes for him. It would be a lie to say he didn't feel bad. After all, Justin wasn't a god, and his heart was soft. Yeah, I hired an expert to help me find Chloe. At this moment, Jack was still grateful towards Granny's sorcery and her connected heart knot. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to find Chloe so easily. After exchanging a few sentences, Justin and Anne stepped aside. Jack stood at the door, wearing a thin black cotton jacket. He looked a little haggard and did not even have time to shave. He looked at Chloe with a complicated expression, feeling a mix of emotions. Chloe looked into Jack's eyes, and they stared at each other for 30 seconds. The air seemed to quieten down at that moment. Then, as soon as Chloe opened her mouth, tears fell. She smiled and said, "I knew you would come pick me up." After Chloe said this, tears welled up in Jack's eyes as he strode over. He hugged Chloe tightly. He would never let go again. Such a long-lost reunion was always heart-wrenching. Jack and Chloe didn't know that they were in a dream. Altogether, ever since they entered the dream, starting from the illusions at Yunnan, they hadn't seen each other in over a month. Jack and Chloe loved each other so much. This month was even longer than a year. Seeing the two of them hugging each other, Justin felt both relieved and sad. To his relief, Chloe finally saw Jack. After all, he was the person she wanted to see. What was unbearable was that he would always get carried away by such a painful scene. Anne's eyes were also red. After being cheated by a woman, I didn't believe in love anymore. But, President Dawson and Dr. Green, you two are always acting lovey-dovey with each other. I have no choice but to believe in love again. This is great. The best thing in the world is probably just like this. Anne was a boorish man who could never say anything nice. However, his words resonated with Justin. After hearing Anne's praise, Chloe and Jack looked at each other and smiled. "I'm sorry, Chloe. I came a little late. I'm sorry for letting you be afraid alone." Jack reached out his warm hand and patted Chloe's head. Then he patted and comforted her like he was coaxing a child. "It's not too late. It's just right." Chloe looked into Jack's eyes for 30 seconds to see if he was the real Jack or a clone. After all, in this magical place, anything was possible. The clone could imitate everything exactly like the original person, except for one thing: his eyes, especially those filled with love. Therefore, in Jack's eyes, Chloe saw the love that had accumulated for so many years. The moment she saw Jack, she suddenly felt that all the pain and suffering she had gone through was worth it. "Jack, since you're here, I have a crazy idea." After Jack and Chloe had an intimate reunion, Justin suddenly made a suggestion. Jack and Chloe both turned to look at Justin. What idea? Jack knew that when Justin was smart, he was as smart as the two of them. Justin licked his lips and continued, "Since we have so many people now, why don't we take this opportunity to destroy this base? You're crazy, Justin. Do you know how many biochemical soldiers are here?" Chloe was the one who said that. She had been imprisoned here for the longest time and had been to most places. She had also seen the biochemical soldiers trained by Lynn. They were actually clones that had yet to take form. Before Justin could respond, Chloe added, "They have a lot of advanced weapons. I'm afraid we'll be slaughtered before we can do anything." "Dr. Green, you might not believe it, but our boss just killed a very powerful woman," Anne interrupted. He wanted to show off how powerful his boss was. Justin looked at Justin questioningly, wondering who Anne was talking about. "When I first got caught in here, I was eating roast duck with you. And then there was that busy maid of yours. Do you remember, if I remember correctly, her name was Messiah?" Justin had a good memory. He tried hard to remember the first time he saw Chloe in his dream. It was all planned by Messiah. Lynn never showed up in front of Justin. "Oh my God, you killed Messiah!" Chloe was in disbelief. Messiah was obviously Lynn's trusted aide and not some small fry. But how did Justin kill her? Not only that, our boss even killed a lot of biochemical soldiers with his bare hands. It was a spectacular scene. Anne continued to boast proudly. "Justin, you brought a weapon in?" Jack looked at Justin's face and asked calmly. Justin shook his head. "I don't have any weapons." "Then how did you do it?" Chloe was still in disbelief. Justin looked at Jack, then at Chloe, and then explained in a serious tone. "What I'm about to say might be a little too much, but I know you two are smart enough to figure it out. That's why I'm telling you to pay attention to what I'm saying. It's very important, and it's related to our lives and deaths." Justin took about 5 minutes to explain everything. and had heard the explanation of the dream before, so he wasn't that surprised this time. Jack and Chloe were both shocked after listening to it. No matter what, they had never expected to experience such a thing over the past month. Including the part in Yunnan, the part in the hospital, and Layla, it was all a dream. And now, they were still in a dream. Justin, if it's really a dream, then we should wake up when we realize that we're dreaming. It's just like the first time you escaped from a dream. Chloe's brain circuit was indeed very fast. Justin had also asked Master Thorin about this. Therefore, he had to use Master Thorin's original words to explain. I was able to escape because I realized that I was dreaming, and because of the amulet and the Great Compassion mantra. Then we can use the Great Compassion mantra. You still have the amulet on you, right? Chloe looked at the little thing on Justin's neck. Justin shook his head. It's not that simple. My master said that I was able to escape because I wasn't the main character here, so the dream creator didn't put much effort into me. But you're different. You're the key person. If you don't kill the dream creator, you won't be able to leave. No one will be able to leave. Do you know how many dream creators there are here? Jack was still a man of few words, but he was asking the main point. 4. Justin extended 4 fingers. 4, so many. Chloe was worried and frowned. Although Justin hadn't mentioned the power of dream creators yet, Chloe could feel it. To be able to weave such a huge dream, to let so many people enter the dream, and to create monsters like Layla and James, these dream creators must be extremely powerful. As expected, Justin continued. Dream creators are powerful in the dream. They are like gods. They can create many scenes, characters, and even strange things. If we are killed in the dream, we will die in reality. It's so creepy, and mumbled. Justin continued. But it's not like we don't have a way to deal with them. I came back this time to tell everyone how we should deal with them. My master said that a person's will is very strong. As long as you keep telling yourself that you're dreaming, and that whatever the dream creator does to you is fake, you won't be hurt. The hard part is that when we're in danger, we will subconsciously take it seriously. Not many people can really think that they're dreaming, so we have to adjust our mentality. How do dream creators exist in the dream? Jack asked Justin. As humans, people like us. However, dream creators know how to disguise themselves. It is very likely that they will disguise themselves as people that we know. We will not be able to detect them. Chloe moved her lips. That's going to be troublesome. How are we going to find them if this continues? It's hard. That's why I wanted to discuss it with Jack. Justin glanced at Jack, his eyes full of trust. That's not important. How are we going to get out of here first? Logically speaking, as long as we don't split up, Justin's prayer beads should be enough to get us out of here and back to our city. However, Professor is still in Lin's hands, so it's going to be difficult for us to find him. Justin was right. Why don't we take this opportunity to turn the world upside down and destroy Lin's fake palace? Jack obviously agreed with Justin. Justin was glad that Jack approved of him. At least he wasn't suspected. This time he came back and talked about the dream realm, which was really ridiculous. If Jack and Chloe suspected him, he couldn't explain himself. But they didn't. They trusted Justin unconditionally, which was what moved Justin the most. Yes, no matter how many biochemical soldiers Lin has, it's useless. We have our ways. As long as we know that it's a dream, we won't be harmed. When we get out later, we'll kill them all and let old witch Lin know that we're not pushovers that she can easily crush. Justin was full of fighting spirit. Boss, what about Goddess Fiona? And asked as he carried Fiona. Chloe, help Fiona up and walk between us. Anne and I will fight at the front, and Jack will be at the back to protect Chloe, Justin said. Jack nodded. Suddenly, Justin thought of something and took off the amulet around his neck. This time, the amulet was real. He had gotten it from his mother in the real world. He put the amulet around Chloe's neck. Take this with you. My master said that this item is quite powerful. You know how to chant the Great Compassion charm, right? Remember to recite it when you are afraid and when you feel danger. Although it can't send you back to the real world, those monsters definitely can't do anything to you. Justin, why don't you wear it? I can't take it. Chloe felt guilty. She didn't want to owe Justin anymore, especially at such a critical moment. "What are you talking about? I'm fine. I'm a man, and I don't need this. You're pregnant. Even if you don't think for yourself, you should think for the child in your stomach. Right? Take it. Don't be so wishy-washy with me. I hate it when you're so wishy-washy." Justin waved his hand and said casually. Chloe touched the amulet. She didn't know what to feel. She felt like she owed Justin too much in this lifetime. She could repay what she owed Mr. Dawson with her body and spend the rest of her life with him. But how was she going to repay what she owed Justin? Seeing Chloe's conflicted expression, Jack put his arm around her shoulders and gently comforted her. "Justin means well. You should wear it." With Jack's words, Chloe felt less burdened. Mr. Dawson wouldn't be jealous, he wouldn't misunderstand, and they wouldn't hold a grudge over this. Over the past few years, Jack and Justin had changed from love rivals to friends. Although they didn't talk much, they had a tacit understanding. Everything they did was to protect Chloe and her child. Of course, Jack knew what Justin had done and appreciated it. This was the gracious side of a man. "Then let's charge out. Everyone, be careful." Then, Justin, Anne, Jack, Chloe, and the unconscious Fiona, all of them rushed out of the room. As expected, they immediately attracted the attention of Lynn and the biochemical soldiers. Another battle was unavoidable. After realizing that it was a dream, Anne and Jack moved faster and more accurately. The three men attacked as if they had become invincible. They clearly had the upper hand. At the Great Hall, Lynn, who was forcing the professor for the Red Demon, was attracted by the monitor. She looked at it for a moment and smiled. "It's so lively here. Jack's here, and Justin's back. Plus, the kids seem to be invincible. Interesting." The professor looked worriedly at the people on the screen. Chloe supported Fiona while walking with her big belly. She was obviously a little clumsy. More and more biochemical soldiers appeared. It was inevitable that there would be times when everyone would not be able to take care of themselves. A biochemical soldier ran towards Chloe with a long sword in his hand. The professor trembled in fear, afraid that his daughter would be in danger. At this critical moment, Chloe closed her eyes and chanted the mantra Justin had taught. What was weird was that the biochemical soldiers around Chloe were instantly annihilated. They disappeared in an instant as if they had been attacked by some mysterious force. The few of them killed their way to the entrance of the hall. Justin was so angry that he kicked the door open. Then, he saw Lynn standing high up on the stairs. "Old monster, we're here to take care of you. Die this time," Justin scolded Lynn. "Justin, you're really lucky. But since you escaped and were willing to come back to die, I'll grant you your wish." Lynn smiled and wiped the crystal ball in her hand. Suddenly, an elephant-sized black tiger appeared in the middle of the hall. That aura was especially strong. That fellow's body was 3 times the size of an ordinary tiger. The tiger roared so loudly that their ears hurt. "Ares, go! Eat this boy who doesn't know his strength." Once Lynn gave the order, the black tiger immediately pounced on Justin. Justin instinctively wanted to hide, but he couldn't right now. Chloe was right behind him. If he dodged, the tiger would pounce on her. Justin clenched his fists. He wanted to strengthen his consciousness so that the tiger wouldn't be of any use. Jack jumped up and stabbed the black tiger in the eye with his dagger. The tiger howled and covered its eyes with its enormous paws. "Justin, take it. Let's play with it." Jack handed him a dagger, and Justin quickly caught it. Then, he understood what Jack meant. This abnormal monster was definitely created by Lynn. The fact that she could create such a powerful beast out of thin air showed how powerful Lynn was as a dream creator. Hence, the first dream creator was Lynn. It must be Lynn. After all, she could conjure a black tiger out of thin air. If this was in the past, Jack might have been a little surprised. After all, this was ridiculous. However, after Justin told him the truth, Jack suddenly let out a sigh of relief. As long as he kept in mind that he was dreaming, even top-notch dream creators would not be able to do anything. Therefore, Justin's return with the truth was the biggest help to them. Jack was armed, but of course, he couldn't carry anything else. Therefore, he only brought 2 daggers, one for himself and one for Chloe. However, at such a critical moment, He definitely couldn't watch Justin fight a tiger alone. This was the first time the two men had teamed up. Chloe was a little nervous. She held her breath and watched everything carefully, and warily watched over Fiona, who was unconscious. Then he looked at the sleeping goddess with heartache. The hidden meaning in his heart was, if my goddess wasn't asleep, this tiger would probably be easily dealt with by her alone, right? Lynn and the professor had been standing at the top of the hall. The professor looked calm, but he was still worried about Jack. In his heart, Jack and Riker were the best sons-in-law he had ever seen. He really didn't want them to get hurt at all. Lynn had been gloating at the start as she watched the battle. She just wanted to see these ignorant juniors being eaten by tigers. But unfortunately, it took Justin and Jack less than 5 minutes to deal with the black tiger. The professor also discovered a trick. When the tiger attacked them, they didn't even dodge. Even though the tiger bit their arms, they did not seem to feel any pain. It was as if these two men had become invincible. The black tiger's eyes were first pierced by Justin and Jack. Then, its throat and jaw were stabbed multiple times before it finally collapsed and died. Lynn looked incredulous. She looked at Jack and then at Justin. "No, that's impossible. You can't possibly have such strength. Tell me, who helped you?" If it was a second ago, Lynn would have believed that Justin's second time entering the dream was suicide. However, after seeing Justin's amazing performance, Lynn suspected that Justin entering the dream again wasn't as simple as it seemed. Was he going to be the savior, to save everyone, and kill all the dream creators? Lynn felt a chill run down her spine at the thought. "No one helped me. We relied on ourselves. How about that? You're scared, old monster." Justin smiled provocatively. "That's impossible. You can't kill my biochemical soldiers with your strength alone." Lynn clearly didn't believe Justin. "Stop blabbering. I don't have time to waste on you. Lynn, you're about to die. Do you have any last words?" Justin weighed the dagger in his hand and was very confident. Justin then raised his head and smiled at Lynn, his aura fully released. For the first time, Chloe realized that Justin was a man who could control the situation. He was as outstanding as Jack sometimes. "You're just a nameless junior. You overestimate yourself." Lynn gritted her teeth as she spoke. "If you're willing to tell me who's behind this, I can consider letting you go," Justin coaxed. "Ha ha, do you think I am a fool? Unless you kill all the dream creators, none of you will be able to leave. Will you let me off? What a joke! Do you think I will believe your nonsense?" Lynn smiled strangely and creepily. However, Justin remained calm. He smiled and asked, "So, you're admitting that you're a dream creator?" Lynn's expression changed slightly. "Justin, cut the crap. Let's go." Jack lowered his voice and reminded him. With Jack's reminder, Justin was filled with fighting spirit after they killed the black tiger. He felt that they should strike while the iron was hot. Killing Lynn would not be a problem. Jack was quick-witted and caught onto the main point. Even in a dream, you could ignore the pain that others inflicted on you. If they stabbed you, you could ignore the pain. Then you could directly counterattack. If the other party died, then all the damage that they had inflicted on you would be gone. Therefore, at this moment, Jack had nothing to fear. He only wanted to fight with Justin to get rid of this terrifying woman. "Chloe, I'm your mother. Can you bear to see me die and let your man kill me?" Lynn suddenly started playing the emotional card. She looked at Chloe pitifully. "Chloe, don't be fooled by her." Justin was impatient and quickly reminded Chloe to stay awake. Chloe glanced at Lynn Ya. "I don't care if you're my biological mother or not. Ever since you did all that to me, Fiona and Dad, you're no longer my mother. Lynn, wake up. We've stopped playing this trick of acting miserable. How can you be so shameless?" Chloe stuck out her stomach and stared at Lynn. Her aura was the same as before. Although she didn't use a single dirty word, every word was satisfying. "Dr. Green, that's awesome," and secretly gave Chloe a thumbs up. After all these years with Justin, Anne understood why Justin liked Chloe and only liked her. Chloe's magnanimity, calmness, and the way she handled things were something a normal girl could never learn. This was the charisma that she was born with. It was unparalleled and unique in the world. At least all these years he hadn't found a single woman who could be like Chloe. Tisk tisk. All right, if that's the case, then... After Lynn said that, she grabbed with her left hand. She directly drew the professor to her side. Then Lynn's fingers closed around the professor's throat. She was so strong that the professor kept coughing. Cough, cough, cough. Dad! Dad! Jack and Chloe shouted in unison. No one expected this woman to suddenly attack the professor. Lynn, do you still think you're human to attack a defenseless old man? Justin scolded angrily. Chloe, your dad loves you so much, so you should know where the red demon is, right? Tell me, or else, I promise you that your dad will be separated from you forever in 3 seconds. Lynn smiled at Chloe, threatening her with the professor's life to tell her where the red demon was. This was the first time Justin and Jack had heard what these people wanted to get. Red demon. Lynn had originally planned to slowly wear down their consciousness, especially Chloe and Professor Wagner's. However, Justin's return almost threw the dream into chaos. First, he killed Messiah and then thousands of her biochemical soldiers. This truly angered Lynn, especially with Jack's sudden arrival. This boosted the team's morale, and Lynn did not want to play around with these children anymore. She might as well force out the red demon's whereabouts and report to the big boss. That was why she wanted to threaten Chloe with the professor's life. After all, no matter how cruel Chloe was, she wouldn't leave her biological father in the lurch. However, Lynn was wrong. Chloe really didn't know where the red demon was. Even if Fiona was still awake, she wouldn't know where the red demon was. The professor was disappointed by Lynn's behavior. Then he said calmly, Lynn, the children don't know where the red demon is. Why are you doing this? If they don't know, then don't you know? So, old Wagner, is your life more important? Or is your item more important? Let me tell you, if you die, you'll really have nothing left. Your wealth and status will be gone, not to mention your red demon. Think carefully. I don't have the patience to continue playing cat and mouse with you. I've been coaxing you and providing for you and your daughter to eat and drink here, but you don't appreciate my kindness. Don't blame me for being heartless today. Lynn's words showed that she had reached the limit. Chloe was so angry that her stomach hurt. Chloe covered her stomach with one hand and frowned slightly. She believed that no mother in the world would be so cruel to her child and husband. Chloe, what's wrong? Jack noticed that something was wrong with Chloe's expression, so he quickly went up to help her up. Chloe was so angry that she couldn't say anything. Her face was pale as she shook her head. Justin had no idea about the red demon, so he couldn't say anything. And listened quietly. Lynn, let me ask you one last time. Is the red demon really that important to you? Can you bear to give up on your family? Professor Wagner's eyes looked complicated. Unfortunately, Lynn was too anxious to notice these details. Instead, she tightened her grip on the professor's neck. Cut the crap! If you don't say it today, all of you will die here. The first one to die will be you. Lynn had just finished speaking when the professor suddenly raised his palm. This palm had actually thrown Lynn 5 to 6 meters away. Justin, Jack, and Chloe were all stunned. Professor, this is Taiji Fist. Even if one had never eaten pork before, they would have seen pigs run. Justin didn't know much about martial arts. However, he knew a little about Taiji Fist because Grandpa Cooper liked it. However, Chloe only knew that Taiji Fist was meant to strengthen one's body. He didn't expect it to be so powerful in an instant. The professor's palm looked weak, but Lynn was sent flying. Lynn did not expect this weak-looking man to have such skills. After landing on the ground, she got up and wanted to secretly form hand seals to summon some ferocious beasts to deal with these people. Oh no, she's forming hand seals again. I wonder what she's going to create, Justin shouted to remind everyone. Just then, something shocking happened. With a few muffled sounds, Lynn fell to the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded except for the professor. What's going on? After a moment of silence, Anne spoke. Before anyone could speak, the professor explained. I pressed a sticky mini-explosive on her. Dad, you brought explosives with you? Oh my God, you're amazing! Chloe was pleasantly surprised. I didn't bring it with me. I made it secretly after I came here. I felt like it would be useful, the professor said calmly. Chloe had made sticky explosives before, It was just that she did not make it as well as her father. To put it bluntly, it was like chewing gum. When people weren't paying attention, it could stick to various parts of a person's body. Then, there was a short buffer period. Some were more than 10 seconds, and some were a few minutes. This was based on the amounts of raw materials used during the production. Justin was no stranger to this thing. Chloe had made it before, and it was extremely powerful. At that time, he wanted to die with Andrew, so Justin knew how powerful this thing was. Most importantly, no one saw when the professor planted it. However, when he saw the bloody holes on Lynn's body, he knew that there was more than one sticky explosive on her. Moreover, judging from the wound, it was an explosion from the inside. The scope of the explosion was very small, so it could only hit Lynn herself and not others. The professor even deliberately pushed her 5 or 6 meters away to maintain a safe distance. "Dad, when did you do that?" Jack couldn't help but ask. "When she held me hostage just now, or else there wouldn't have been such a good opportunity to get close to her. She's usually very vigilant." "It seems like she was too smart for her own good. She wanted to take you hostage, but she died here," Jack exclaimed. At that moment, Lynn's body started to wither, just like when Messiah died. However, when Messiah died, it was a pool of green liquid, and it was extremely disgusting. As for Lynn, she had a pool of red blood and looked very scary. As a pregnant woman, Chloe couldn't stand it anymore. She turned around and leaned on Jack's shoulder. "She's definitely a dream creator." Justin was certain when he saw the pool of blood. Master Thorin had told him how to differentiate between a dream creator and a fictional one. "I knew she wasn't Lynn for a long time. Lynn would never do something like this to her family. After Chloe was swapped with someone in Tau Town, Lynn was filled with regret and guilt. She missed her daughter day and night, so my Lynn would never do something so heartless. I was just trying to distract her." Indeed, there was no trace of sadness on the professor's face after Lynn's death, because the professor seemed to have made up his mind that this was not the real Lynn. He knew it since the time they were in Bali. The only reason he had followed her lead was to find his 2 missing daughters. Chloe didn't feel sad at all. She had no feelings for this woman to begin with, and after hearing that she was a dream creator, she became even more disgusted with her. "She really isn't Dr. Lynn. She's a dream creator," Jack explained to the professor. "Dream creator?" The professor frowned. "Dad, have you heard of this profession?" Chloe looked at her father curiously. The professor nodded. "Of course. When I was in the United States, I met one. The FBI had a dream creator who was said to be very powerful. He was able to pull people into dreams, and everything that happened in the dream was created by him. I heard that there was a rich businessman in the United Arab Emirates who hired a dream creator to see his wife who had died many years ago. He slept in his dream for 3 days and had a good time with his dead wife. This is not fake. This is something we have witnessed personally. When everyone heard that the professor knew about dream creators, it felt like they were too ignorant. Since the professor knows, why doesn't Jack explain it to him? Justin said. Jack nodded and explained the situation to the professor. The professor nodded quietly. If it's a dream, then all of this would make sense. At this moment, an earthquake-like sound suddenly rang out. Suddenly, the earth and mountains shook. "Oh no, this place is collapsing." Because this place was created by Lynn, after Lynn died, everything here would disappear. The underwater palace and the white crystal were all fake, so this illusion was about to collapse. However, even though it was just an illusion, if they were hit by these things, they would still be injured and might even be smashed to death. At this critical moment, Justin took out the prayer beads his master gave him. "Everyone, get over here. Everyone, grab my clothes. I'm going to get you all out of here," Justin roared. Everyone gathered around Justin, and didn't forget to carry Fiona on his back, whereas Chloe was in Jack's arms. Then, everyone grabbed onto Justin's clothes. Justin closed his eyes and used his powerful consciousness to think about where he was going. In an instant, the entire world fell silent. About 10 seconds later, they could no longer hear the sound of the underwater palace collapsing and the tsunami. There was a familiar smell all around. Justin was the first to open his eyes. He smiled when he saw his surroundings. This was his home, Justin's private mansion. "Wow, we're home. That's great, boss. You're awesome. Here's a thumbs up for you." Anne was overjoyed to see the familiar environment. It was like a child who had been lost for a long time and had finally found his home. Upon seeing this, Jack and Chloe let out a sigh of relief. They all knew that this was Justin's home, so they had returned to the city. It was the professor's first time here, so he looked around curiously. "Dad, this is Justin's private mansion. We have come back to the city," Chloe said with a smile. "Yeah, he's quite capable." The professor looked at Justin approvingly. Justin scratched his head in embarrassment after being praised by the professor. "You can say that. This isn't really a skill. These are also gifts from my master. It seems like they are quite useful." Then, before the professor could say anything, Anne held Fiona's arm and leaned over anxiously. "Professor, I heard that you're very good at everything. Can you save Goddess Fiona? She can't stay unconscious forever." Anne had been thinking about Fiona for a long time, and now that they were back, he couldn't wait any longer. "Yeah, Dad. Fiona must have fallen into the Dream Creator's trap. Now that Lynn's dead, why isn't she awake yet? Could it be that she's been too deeply poisoned?" Chloe asked anxiously. "Don't worry. Help her lie down. Let me take a look." The professor asked Anne to help Fiona to the sofa in the living room. The professor took Fiona's pulse. Everyone held their breaths, waiting for the results. They waited for about 20 to 30 seconds. The professor removed his hand from Fiona's wrist, and Chloe asked, "Dad, how is it? How's Fiona doing?" Anne was also looking forward to it. He was afraid that something would happen to the goddess Fiona. "She's fine. I think someone used a strong sleeping pill on her. I'll give her an antidote later. She should wake up after resting for a day or two. Excellent. Thank God my goddess is finally fine." Chloe and Anne were the happiest when they heard that Fiona would wake up soon. After experiencing so much, the few of them felt exceptionally complicated. "I miss my daughters so much. No, I have to go home to see them now." Chloe was excited at the thought of seeing the twins. Chloe, wait a minute," Justin called out to her. "What is it?" Listen to me first, haha." Justin didn't dare to tell Chloe the truth. "Justin, did something happen to my babies? Don't scare me." Chloe's expression changed drastically when she saw Justin stammer. Jack's expression also became serious. Justin was too focused on explaining the nightmare and the dream creators. He did not manage to talk about the twins. Although Justin didn't have to say anything, he was a very honest person. He didn't want to lie. If Chloe and Jack found out about it in the future, it wouldn't be easy. No, nothing happened. Don't think too much." Justin waved his hands. "Hey, hurry up and tell me, okay? My heart is about to jump out of my chest." Chloe touched her heart. Her heart rate was much faster than usual. She was afraid of hearing bad news from Justin. "I don't know how to say this. I think it's cruel," Justin stammered. On the other hand, the professor asked calmly, "Justin, are my twin granddaughters actually fictional characters in the dream?" Justin was surprised. "How did you know?" "Judging from your expression, I guessed it." The professor looked calm. "That's right?" Justin bit his lips nervously. Then, he secretly raised his head and peeked at Jack and Chloe. Justin expected Chloe to be sad and would cry, and Jack would remain silent. However, the truth was, Jack was really silent. But Chloe also fell silent. This made him even more worried. "Chloe." Justin looked at Chloe with heartache. Unexpectedly, Chloe looked up and smiled. It was a genuine smile. "Dr. Green," and wanted to comfort Chloe, but he didn't know what to say. "Justin, thank you for telling me. This is a good thing," Chloe said with a smile. "Huh?" Justin was confused. However, Jack immediately understood what Chloe was thinking. He put an arm around Chloe's shoulder, lowered his head, and gently said, "Chloe, you're saying that since the daughters in the dream were made up, it means that our daughters are still in the real world." Yes. I saw them in the real world. I was afraid that something would happen to them, so I specially brought them to my house and let my mother take care of them. So, don't worry, rest assured. The defense of my family's old residence is like a military zone. Only then did Justin realize that it was actually a good thing for Chloe that the twins did not enter the dream. Although they could not see the real children, knowing that they were safe and sound was the parents' greatest hope. But my daughters didn't enter the dream because they weren't targeted by anyone, or is there some other reason? Mr. Dawson was a quick thinker. The fact that the twins were able to resist being pulled into the dream world was probably not because the dream creators were too kind and let them go on purpose. Justin scratched his head. According to my master, Pudding and Little Bean have something similar to protection talismans that can ward off evil spirits. I thought about it and realized that they only have the jade gourd that Fiona gave them. Maybe there's something special about it. That gourd was indeed blessed by an eminent monk that Fiona had found, Chloe said. It seems like this incubus is also an evil thing. It's afraid of the blessed jade gourd. Jack nodded. She finally understood why her daughters did not enter the dream. The children in the dream? The professor understood after listening. They're made up by dream creators, but they're harmless, just like our twins, Justin said. But I sent them abroad to travel with Avery and Max, Jack said. That's good too. Let's get them away from here. We can use the remaining time to find the other 3 dream creators. The professor nodded. Dad, come home with me first. Even in the dream, we have to go home. Chloe smiled as she walked over and took the professor's hand. Then Fiona. The professor was still reluctant to part with Fiona. I'll take good care of Goddess Fiona. I'll tell you when she wakes up. And obviously didn't want Fiona to leave. All right, let Fiona rest here. I'll concoct the antidote. Then, the professor walked to the side and took out some bottles that he had brought with him. After giving Fiona an injection, Chloe, Jack, and the professor left Justin's mansion. Then, only Justin and Anne were left. Boss, are we still in the dream? What do you think? Justin rolled his eyes at Anne. I feel like it's unbelievable. Ha. It feels like this is the real world. It doesn't feel like a dream. Justin sighed. That's why I said dream creators are amazing. Professor Lin, logically speaking, should be a boss-level character. I thought it would be difficult to deal with her. I didn't expect her to die so quickly. It went unexpectedly smooth. Anne recalled everything that had happened in the underwater palace and sighed. Justin was worried. Boss? Huh? I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? What? Justin was indeed distracted. I said, it was too easy to deal with that old witch in the underwater palace. Aren't dream creators very powerful? I feel that. Lin is just a small character. The real powerful dream creator is still somewhere, or perhaps he is still hiding. Boss, don't scare me. Things were getting out of hand, and didn't dare to think about what would happen in the future. Forget it. I'll stop thinking about it. The more I think about it, the more tired I get. It wasn't easy for me to escape that damned place. I need to rest. Justin was really tired. This time he had gone straight into the underwater palace. Master Thorin had used Anne's finger blood to connect him to the dream, so Justin would be wherever Anne was. Now that he had finally escaped, even though it was in the dream, when he thought of those biochemical soldiers and the black tiger, he felt that it was a frightening experience. Justin felt weak. He simply lay down on the sofa. Fiona was carried to the guest room by Anne, who took good care of her. In the real world. When Mrs. Cooper heard Master Thorin's words, tears streamed down her face. Her son did not even mention anything after experiencing such a major incident. Now that he was unconscious, Mrs. Cooper didn't know what to feel. Master Thorin, will my son Justin be able to come back safely with everyone after entering the dream? Mrs. Cooper asked with teary eyes. Even though Master Thorin's words weren't nice and he always called Justin a stupid donkey, he was actually very soft-hearted and could not stand this kind of emotional scene. Hearing Mrs. Cooper's words, he felt terrible, but he didn't want to lie to Mrs. Cooper. Madam, I can only tell you the truth. After Justin returns to the dream world this time, firstly, if he successfully kills the dream creator, everyone will be saved. Everyone who entered the dream will wake up, but Justin won't come back. Secondly, if Justin fails, the dream creator will kill him and he won't be able to come back. These words were like a bolt from the blue, making Mrs. Cooper's face turn pale. You mean, no matter what the outcome is, my son won't be able to return, right? Mrs. Cooper's voice trembled slightly. The feeling of not being able to cry was the worst. Yes, Master Thorin felt very sad and nodded with difficulty. Mrs. Cooper immediately broke down. Looking at her unconscious son on the bed, she felt as if something was stuck in her chest, and she could not breathe. "Why did my son do this? Isn't it better to live well?" Mrs. Cooper burst into tears. When the bodyguards and chauffeur outside heard that Madame was not in her usual mood, they immediately rushed in, thinking that she was threatened. However, as soon as she stepped in, Mrs. Cooper scolded them. "Get out!" The two words were spoken with great anger. The bodyguards and chauffeur were so frightened that they quickly rushed out, not daring to take another step. Mrs. Cooper reached out and held her son's cold hand. She felt as if her heart was being cut into pieces. No one in this world cared more about Justin than his mother. Mrs. Cooper was not in good health. She only had one son in her life, but now he was in such a state. "Madam, please take care of yourself. I'm sure Justin doesn't want to see you like this," Master Thorin comforted her. He made such a cruel decision and didn't care about how his father, grandfather, and I felt. Why should I care about him? "Justin, how could you treat your mother like this? I'm so sad." Mrs. Cooper cried so hard that Master Thorin almost burst into tears. After crying for a long time, her tears were almost dry. Then Mrs. Cooper slowly got up and carefully covered Justin with a small blanket. "Master Thorin, Madam, can you think of a way to save my son? As long as you can help me save Justin, I'm willing to do anything, even if it means shortening 10 or 20 years of my life. Really, even if I die now, it's fine as long as my son is all right." Then Mrs. Cooper gritted her teeth and knelt down, but before her knees touched the floor, she was supported by Master Thorin. "Madam, what are you doing? Get up!" "Master Thorin, you're Abbot Compassion's junior brother. I know that you're all otherworldly experts and possess exceptional skills. Please save my son. I only have one son. I can't lose him." "Madam, there's no point in begging me. Justin is my disciple. Even though he hasn't been my disciple for a long time and we only spent a few days together, our relationship isn't that bad. I want to save Justin even more than you, but this is his own choice. Plus, I can't break this nightmare. Really, even if my sister and I work together, we can't break out of this. Why don't we wait and see if a miracle happens?" After hearing what Master Thorin said, Mrs. Cooper blacked out and fainted, in the dream world. Justin woke up in his private mansion. He felt a little anxious, as if something was bothering him. He took out his phone and called Jack. "Jack, come out for a second. I need to discuss something with you alone," he said. Jack received Justin's call. He had arrived at South Hill Manor not long ago. Exhausted, Chloe went into her room to rest. The professor went to the study room and turned on his computer to search for some information. Jack drove Chloe's white Audi R8 out. They met at a small bar near Justin's house. This was the first time the two men had met so formally. It was as if they were on a date. Justin arrived before Jack and waited in a dark corner. Jack was still wearing his black jacket and looked aloof. "Over here." Justin waved his hand, afraid that Jack wouldn't see him. Jack walked over and sat across from Justin without a word. "I'm sorry. You just got home and I made you come out." "Justin, we've known each other for a few years. I know what kind of person you are. Stop acting like a woman. Get to the point." Mr. Dawson was still a man of few words, but his words hit the nail on the head. Justin wasn't angered by Jack's teasing. Instead, he chuckled. "You make it seem like you're my girlfriend. You know me that well?" "Okay, I shall stop. I'm afraid that you're going to beat me up. Let's get down to business. I know we just got back. Firstly, we're both exhausted, and secondly, we still need to get used to the incubus. Even though we're in a dream right now, many things are the same as reality. When I was in the real world, apart from Pudding and Little Bean, I couldn't contact anyone else, so I'm not sure if Max, Avery, Dr. Victoria, Brenton, Sarah, Noah, and even your friends Rick and Cece have entered the dream, or if they're just temporarily uncontactable. I didn't have the time to verify it." "So?" Jack asked calmly. "Therefore, this is a very difficult problem. The two of us have to try to differentiate them one by one. It would be fine if they are fake, but if they are dream creators in disguise, it would be troublesome." Of course, I don't want to think of my good friends as evil dream creators. However, before I entered the dream, my master told me not to easily trust anyone. Then why do you trust me? Jack continued to ask him. The fact that he could sit here and hear Justin's words meant that Justin trusted him. Logically speaking, Max and Jack didn't have a close relationship. On the other hand, Justin grew up with Max and Brenton as good friends. If he wanted help, he should look for them. Even if Max was taking Avery and the fake twins overseas on vacation. However, Brenton was still at home, but Justin didn't look for them and immediately contacted Jack. Jack was more or less touched by this. However, he wasn't good at expressing himself, so he didn't express how happy and touched he was with Justin. You might be jealous if I tell you, I don't actually trust you, but I trust Chloe. Chloe is definitely real, and Chloe trusts you. Chloe has been with you for so many years. When she was young and when she was in her teens, she was already with you. It's impossible for her to not understand you. It's like you never trusted Layla after you met her. That's why I trust you, not because I trust you, but because Chloe trusts you. Justin said something very roundabout, but Jack immediately understood. He said nothing but nodded. We don't have much time right now. In order not to let the dream creators make the first move, we have to find the dream creators first, Justin said. Do you have any suspects? Jack picked up the glass in front of him, took a sip, and lowered his head to ask. To be honest, there are none. That's why I'm so confused. I don't even know who to talk to right now, and isn't very smart, and Chloe's pregnant. I'm not very close to the professor, so I can only talk to you. No matter the reason, I have to thank you for trusting me, Justin. Hey, let's not talk about this now. Killing the dream creator and getting all of you out is the right thing to do. Justin was a little embarrassed. After all, he rarely heard Jack express his gratitude. Jack noticed the details in Justin's sentence. That was getting all of you out. He was not saying us or everyone, but all of you. However, Jack didn't ask Justin directly. I do have a suspect, Jack said quietly. Huh? Really? Who? I'm afraid you don't know him. I believe I can handle it myself. No, dream creators are powerful. I have to go with you. Justin became cautious. Jack shook his head. If you go, they'll be on their guard, and it'll be even harder for us to do anything. Leave it to me. I'll tell you when I'm done. Can you do it yourself? Justin was still worried. I'll be fine. Why don't you take this prayer bead of mine? It can take you anywhere you want to go. If you're in danger, you can use it to escape. Justin wanted to take off the prayer beads on his neck, but Jack stopped him. There's no need to trouble yourself. There's really no need. My willpower is still very strong. As long as I can remember that I am in a dream, they can't do anything to me. Yes, that's true. Be careful then. Okay, wait for my news. Jack stood up, patted Justin's shoulder, and left. Working with Jack made him feel safe. It was as if nothing could stump him. After meeting Jack, Justin returned to his private mansion and made a blueprint. Then, he analyzed everyone he had seen in the dream. Who would be the most suspicious? Master Thorn had said that even if the dream creator was hiding his identity in the dream world, he would not be a stranger that they had never met before. So this person must be someone he knew. Justin really wasn't good at solving cases, so he could only slowly analyze according to his own logic. Jack, on the other hand, drove his sports car to a place as fast as lightning. By then, it was already dark in the city. There was a knock on the door. After waiting for a long time, Liz opened the door. Brother Jack, you're back so soon. Did you save Chloe? When Liz saw Jack, she was a little excited and smiled innocently. Yes, I'm back. Where's Granny? Oh, Grandma went downstairs to buy some groceries and wanted to stretch out her muscles. I'm cooking so we can eat together. It's my signature dish. These dishes are only available in Yunnan. I bought them online. Haha, you must have never eaten them before. Liz opened the door and enthusiastically let Jack in. It was very obvious at this point. Since it was a dream, there was no Miaoji sorcery. There was no such thing as connected hearts. It was just a dream. Granny's identity as a sorcerer was the most suspicious, and the little girl following her was most likely fabricated by a dream maker. Just like Messiah beside Lin. However, even if it was a fabrication, No one would have the heart to touch her when they saw how innocent and cute she was. Just then, slow footsteps came from outside. The white-haired, bent old lady pushed open the door and entered. "Dawson, you're back?" Granny's expression was the same as usual, flawless. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.